Hey, welcome back to MCOC. Noxy, the master of mediocre gameplay. This is some off-season wars. I just cobbled a few of them together from different wars. The nodes in Path 1 have changed. They are definitely a little trickier for my approach. Got to be a little more careful with the overall roster. I think Warlock's still going to be a dominant choice. But so here we've got a big old long shot, rank 3 long shot. And as we all know, Longshot can kill you with one SB2. If you can bleed, he can kill you. if he gets the right amount of RNG, he can kill you with an SB1. Like, he can just bleed you insanely. But that SB2 can just burn you to a crisp. And so we're going in here. I think this is in Section 2, if I remember correctly, of one of the first wars. So I'm just pounding away. Watching out for, I think he has, can't remember if it's some sort of version of masochism, so I almost went in with my APOC, but instead he's getting the Warlock treatment here, and Warlock is just kind of pounding away, right? Like it's just a real standard Warlock fight. I wanted to show it though because I think you got to be so careful with Longshot not to push him to that SB2, right? His SB1 is not that tricky to evade. It's devastating if it gets you, but it's really just, that one big important dash back and stay out of his way. Then down he goes. So I wanted to show that just because Warlock is awesome, and because Longshot's is a fun fight. It keeps you on your toes because everything he does is kind of like what's coming, but you got to be aware of it. It's kind of like what they used to say about like the John Stockton, Karl Malone, Utah Jazz. You know exactly what they're going to do, but can you stop it? And that's really how you approach with a long shot fight. It's like, I know what he wants to do. Can I stop it? So here we've got at rank 3 APOC, big boy, Paco. And I don't have a ton of experience going up against Apocalypse in war, and so this was why I wanted to show this one. Because, you've got class advantage with Warlock, of course, being tech versus mutant. We're going to be putting those infections on him. He only has 2 of his, I believe it's called genetic code, so he's not going to be breaking my block and stunning me. He's not going to be healing because Warlock just, chuckles at your attempts to heal. So we're pounding him away, right? So this fight, if I face it during the regular season, will be my absolute choice, right? It's definitely Warlock versus APOC. Though, like I said, I don't know how many APOCs I've actually faced in war proper yet. It's not very many. Warlock is definitely the answer. There he goes. Down he goes. So no sweat right there from Paco versus Warlock. Let's jump into our next fight here. Well, let's see. How many hits did it even take? It took 70 hits, and I took none. So 70 hits is still kind of a lot. So speaking of Longshot earlier about we know what you want to do, but can we stop it? That's Killmonger, right? You know what he wants to do. He wants to throw those specials, and especially that SP2 can just be absolutely devastating. It's not hard to outrange, but he'll throw it at just kind of strange times, right? So I push him to almost an SP3 here. His power game is just outrageous. So then I dive in. Yeah, look at that power gain. Yeah, even just through the block, he's massively gaining power. Yeah, so Killmonger's tricky, right? There he goes. You got to be ready to back up quick when he's got that second bar of power. That's a beautiful thing about fighting Killmonger, though, is that the Killmonger AI is not going to get stingy with you. They are going to throw those specials. There's something programmed into that character, it seems to be to me, that just makes him want to throw those specials. And then, as he is for most fights, APOC is a really, really good counter for Killmonger. And that was only a rank 5 Killmonger, so Paco was just battering him up, bruising him up. So still took 54 hits. I mean, Killmonger, even at rank 5, 5-star, is a beefy boy who just doesn't like to give you crits and doesn't like to take a lot of damage. So here I put this one in here. This is the first time I faced Cersei in war. I'm still not extremely familiar with her, but since it's off season, I was like, hey, Cable might be a really good answer for this because she's going to glance everything, but I doubt she'll glance the Degen. And so the plan here is really just go heavy, 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 heavy. Parry heavy when possible, but if I can get her to run into my heavy without even a parry, that's great too. Because that reach on Cable's heavy is awesome. He does like a little step forward, and then he has an extended reach, right? So now I've got her to SB2, and I'll be honest, I don't know. Okay, so I'm remembering, yeah, there we go. I got lucky there, to be honest. Because I'd played her in, CAV, EQ and all that, but it's been a while. And this is the first time I think I faced her in War. And I'm just seeing that Cable's a really good answer for Cersei on this node here. She's not going to heal, or she's not healing much, excuse me, and the degen is just overwhelming it. So that went really well. It made me feel like, oh man, Cable is going to get some play this season, because I bring him for the Paco synergy. And now here we have a big Doom rank 3 Dr. Doom unawakened. And you were going to see, in retrospect, I think I should have probably gone with Cable or APOC, but I end up going with Warlock, because Warlock is the attacker I am just most comfortable with. He's the most simple. He's just easy to play, right? He does so many things just automatically throughout a fight. Like he just puts those infections on. Those infections have such a great impact in your favor, to your benefit. So, but you're going to see this is the longest war fight I've ever had. Like, I don't even think it's close. And now I pull it out, right? But man, it is forever. Like, Doom has an insane crit resistance. He's got insane block proficiency. So far I've done a good job of avoiding that SP1. I know it's not hard, but I still every once in a while get clipped by it. I think I get clipped by it once or twice in this fight, if memory serves. This is sometime last week this fight took place. And I don't remember exactly what the hit count was, but I know it's way more than I've ever had in a single fight in War. I'm just not doing any damage. I can't armor break him, of course, because he's Doom. And he can't heal, which is probably the only reason I'm winning this fight. And I'm winning the health battle right now, right? And I don't even think I've taken a hit. And I've still taken quite a bit of damage just from block penetration. So I'm trying to figure out, like, what am I doing here? I'm not doing much damage. So then I kind of glance up at the clock every once in a while. So I've got 4 minutes left. So I'm on time to win this fight. It's not a problem. I'm trying to get my infections up. They drip down from 3 to 2. And so then I think this one clips me. No, I evaded that one too. Great. So I've got the infections up. I probably should just use my my SP3 to get a little healing here. Got two sets of infections up right now. There's 3. I don't know about you guys, but sometimes I get so locked into a fight that I don't do a great job of following all the timers and all the icons up there, which is an area where I need to grow, because they're so important, especially in unstoppable armor. I know that cost me a couple deaths last season against unstoppable armor, because I just didn't know which timer to be looking at. I lost track of it, and all of a sudden you're in the middle of a combo, and then bink, 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 you're dead. So here we've got, I finally used my SP3. I don't know what took me so long there. I was just holding on to it. So let's see how much damage this does, or how much healing it gives me as well. So next to no damage and good amount of healing. What was that, 9% healing? That's great. So I'm just pounding away. Now we're down to just about 2.5 minutes left to go on the timer, but I've got him down to under 30%. And like I said, just a very slow, methodical, boring fight, which honestly, that's okay. So I think he clips me. Yeah, there we go. There's the clip. And if you can come out of a Dr. Doom fight and say, man, that was a monotonous and boring fight, then you probably did something really right, because that SB2 is not boring or monotonous. It is hair-raising, right? It is frightening. And so I know I'm not terrible at evading it, but man, I don't want to ever risk that in War. And so even in this fight, I'm just trying to keep him to SP1, trying to power drain him when possible. Thankfully, he keeps on power draining with his healing that's being stifled. And we're getting him down. So now I'm finally kind of like, okay, I'm going to definitely win this fight. I did a good job of avoiding the SP2. But my gosh, man. Yeah, look at that. Only a minute 40 left on the clock. And look at this hit counter is insane. What do you think it is? What do you think the hit counter is? It is 227 hits. Like, it only took 2, and those were the SP1s that clipped me. But oh my gosh. And so here we go into this Nimrod, and once again, the nodes have been changed. Because last season during war, my team asked me to take this fight, this Nimrod right here. This is a rank 3 Awakened Nimrod, Nimi. And so I heal up a little bit. This is I think this might be the only potion I use in the off season. I'm not sure. And I just aced this fight in the off season. I just crushed it. I just completely ignored the strike counter node because I hate strike counter. And so I was like, okay, I'll just approach this exactly the same way I did the last fight. I'll just ignore strike counter and I'll just pound away on this guy. And you can see, like, I am just not doing damage. And then I get clipped, and that's the big problem right there, because he does so much damage. There's unstoppable armor. There it is. There's an example of it just clipping me when I wasn't prepared. Do a decent job of evading that SP2, but he's still unstoppable. I noticed it this time. That's nice of me. Good job, me. Once again, I paused there because I didn't know what that timer meant. So there's 2 gray timers up there, and I don't know which one's which. I really wish they would change that, because now there's 3 gray timers, right? Now there's 2. So I got him back to his SP2, which I'm constantly trying to push him to. There, unstoppable armor procs again. And I'm just doing no damage, right? Just none. There's the unstoppable. I'm just freaking out. Now, this is off-season war, but I still try to approach it like, hey, you really want to figure this fight out and win it. There, I don't know if he went unblockable. I don't know Nimrod's kit well enough, or if I lit up off on the block, but it penetrated through my block and then done. So I'm not sure if Warlock is still a good answer for that fight. I had a teammate come in there and clean it up for me. So this is another war. So here we've got a Strife. And so I'm just kind of glancing at some of the nodes. This is the shared mini in section 1. It's a strike counter once again that I hate. But Paco versus a rank 5 Strife. And I'm just like, okay, my rank 3 Awakened Paco is going to take out this rank 5 Awakened Strife, no problem. I'm just going to ignore the strike counter, and I'll be fine. So now I know he goes cloaked or invisible here, so I don't want to hit into him there. It'll mess me up. So now I'm picking up some shocks on me. I'm seeing. I'm like, okay, but I'm doing just fine, right? I'm tearing him up. I want to avoid that SP2 because I know it's not hard to evade, but I have not perfected it. And honestly, I think this might be the first Strife I've faced in war without a Magneto, at least. Magneto just, turns the fight off, But Magneto wasn't available here, so this is good practice in the off-season. This is the thing I like about off-season. I know a lot of players are burned out by the time off-season comes, and they're like, I don't want to play anything. And if they're great players, that's great. I am not a great player, and so I need the practice. So a fight like this is good for me, because in season, I'd most likely be going up against or at least a rank 3 Strife instead of a rank 5-star. And so we're just going to see. Notice how many Furies he's got. He's got 11 Furies because of my inability to play the node. And so I cannot take a hit. I'm winning the fight. I mean, I've almost got him. Look, the fight's almost over. He's got all those Furies. The SP1 is easy to evade, right? He goes cloaked for, like 2.5, 3 seconds most. And then I lit up off the block, and those Furies do their work. That's on me. It's totally on me. You'll never hear me blame input stuff. I think I thought I had timed his hits, and I was going to be able to back up and avoid taking a block hit, and I just was not. I just did not execute, and which was a stupid risk to take. And then the fight's over because of all those Furies. So now I'm just kind of ticked off. Look at that, just one heavy, one heavy from Cable, and that fight was over. Oh, this is a really interesting fight. So because it's off season, I just kind of veered off my path. There were no fights in my section, so I just said, "I'll let someone else just take up that path if they want." There was no one placed there. And so I'm like, okay, I'm going to fight this Mr. Fantastic with Cable. So this will be like a fun fight. I'm still kind of upset with myself for losing that APOC Strife fight. This is the same war. And so I'm gonna go. Hey, I know Mr. Fantastic. I have a really high sig rank 3 Mr. F, Mr. Reed here, and so I'm gonna go up against him because there's nothing about the node that scared me, and I know Mr. Fantastic really well. And I think I can just parry heavy degen this guy into oblivion. And once again, off season it's only a 5-star, but the dimensions of the fight wouldn't change. The ideology of the fight, the approach to the fight wouldn't change just because he was a 6-star. And so I'd still be getting these parries, and that degen would still be melting. It would take probably a few extra seconds, or maybe an additional parry, parry heavy. But man, that fight was nothing. That fight was nothing. So if you're ever taking Reed on that node in section 2, on path 4 in section 2, man, just know Reed with Paco, he will melt that fool. And then, if you have willpower, the debuffs will heal you back up. So it was an easy fight. So here we go. Nick Fury. Let me see. Is this a 5-star? Yeah, it's a 5-star Nick Fury. And so I got a story to go along with this fight. Look, I am just absolutely melting. The degens are just crushing him. He's not picking up his tack charges because I've got class advantage. I'm just melting him. Like it's just nothing, right? This fight is nothing. I've come a long way as a Nick Fury fighter. You always want to push him to his SP2. I failed to do that there, so I just took it all on the block. Nothing about the node made that any more devastating. I've got an armor break on me, which is actually healing me, thankfully. And then in just a second, right here, my daughter has come up to me and is demanding my attention. I have a beautiful little you see the screen flip right there? It's because I slammed my phone down. So I was crushing that fight, right? Just absolutely doing everything I wanted, going perfectly according to plan. I'm sitting in the living room where no one is. Then my beautiful, precious little baby girl runs in and is like in super demanding mode. Like she's kind of like getting in my face. She's like grabbing my arm. And I'm going, not now, baby, hold on, baby, hold on, just a second. But she's just too excited. She wasn't being naughty or anything. She was just really excited and really wanted my attention right in that moment where Nick Fury went unblockable. And I missed it. I missed that he was unblockable. And so not awesome. Not awesome at all there. And there we've got it, guys. So there's just a few of the off-season wars. I hope you enjoyed it. Season 33 kicks off very soon, and I'll be putting videos out for you. I hope you enjoy them. Bye.